it simple. We kill.
The Bat of Gotham.
I'm Batman.
Hey now, welcome to episode number 2 of the Batman on Film Social Hour. I am the founder of Batman on Film, Bill, Jett, Ramey, and with me, it's kind of getting to be my regulars here now, Pete Vera and Garrett Griff. Boys, how y'all doing?
I'm doing good. Garrett, how are you?
I'm doing well. You know, it's been a busy week in the Grev house, distance learning for all the kids all the time. So that's been an adjustment, and we've had a whole bunch of new fun news to read and exciting things to look forward to. So it's been good, man. Been
Good. So let's get it out of the way. What's the temperature in Minneapolis right now, or in the Twin Cities area?
Yeah, it's actually not too bad right now. I was pulling it up because this morning it was a bit chilly, but the boys have been playing outside, which is why, you know, the viewers might hear some, you know, little feet running around above me, but it's 40 degrees, so it's warm enough for Minnesota kids to play outside.
Any snow on the ground at all?
Yeah, there's some snow. We actually built a snowman last weekend.
What?
Okay.
Oh yeah. And this is a big sucker. I mean, he's, you know, 4.5 feet tall. You know, he has a hat and a scarf and the whole deal. Like, it's frosty.
Carrot nose? You get the carrot nose in there?
Yeah, carrot nose and the whole deal. He is still standing because it's cold enough not to melt him down, but it is all green grass with a snowman sitting in the backyard.
Okay.
I should take a picture and post it or something. It's pretty funny to see.
Yeah.
It's only 63 in Jersey, so no snowmen here.
Okay.
I can still walk out with a windbreaker at least.
70 degrees here in the greater Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex.
You might as well be in San Diego right now.
70 degrees, overcast, and then it's going to be like 34 Saturday night, Sunday morning, and rain, and then a high of like 48, 50, something like that. So it's just one extreme to the next. All right.
Bill, I was going to ask, do you have any forecast for Sunday?
Well, here's where I'm at right now, Garrett, because my team, the Dallas Cowboys, are just completely ravaged with injuries. No Dak Prescott. The offensive line, you got 2 Pro Bowlers, so both tackles are gone, and I pull for them to win, but I'm not in a major depression if they lose, like I usually
like the
am.
Giants are winning the division.
You know, and what's amazing is they're still in it.
I know, it's the wildest thing about
they're still in the NFC East. I mean,
the East.
The
East is crazy, and I know, crazy. Bill, you're a good football fan. You'd never root for your teams to lose. I am not
a team tank person at all. I don't get that.
We had a bunch of Minnesotans saying that at the beginning of the season with the way the Vikings got started, and I am a football purist. You play the game to win the game, and you let the draft picks figure themselves out later.
Yes.
So I know you'd rather have a win, but if they lose, you're probably not too devastated at this point.
You guys would get a kick in New York radio and listen to Jets fans. I'll tell you that much. They're all ready to go get that number 1 pick.
Oh yeah, man. Don't fire Gaze. You need him around to secure that first round pick for sure.
I just, I'm not a team tank, and that's on all the sports radio here too. You know, team tank and blah blah blah. Just get that draft pick. To me, the coach in me, you play to win, and they'd be better off with 7 games left, winning, going 3 out of 4, 4 out of 3, and winning. I mean, they were behind the 8 ball. I mean, with the COVID, you had a new coaching staff, new defense, and then the injuries. It's been a night. This whole season, this whole year has just been. I told my wife this week, I said, it's football season. It doesn't even seem like it's football season hardly, You got college games getting postponed or canceled.
Right.
It was a weird
year. It's just everything. So
everything's weird. No movies coming out, it's the whole deal.
Not unless you get HBO Max.
Yes. Ooh, well, we're going to get there.
Ahead of ourselves now.
We're going to get there. Good tease. So, and one last thing. Okay. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Oh, yes.
Happy Thanksgiving, boys.
Thanksgiving.
All right. I got a question for both of you. Peter, is it stuffing or dressing?
Stuffing.
Garrett.
Gosh, I think I think I probably say stuffing more often than dressing, but I think, you know, we normally go to Thanksgiving at my uncle's house, and I think they say dressing.
Okay.
I think there's a little bit of a difference. I think they might actually be different things. What they refer to as dressing is not the stuffing you'd get out of a box, right? Like it's sort of like bread's a part of it. You soak it with some other stuff. You get some fruit, you get some vegetables, and then you take that, and that's the dressing.
I didn't hear dressing until I started talking to Bill, to be brutally honest. That was a new term to me. I was like,
Oh,
dressing?
really?
Like, what is that,
That's
ranch?
a,
Like, what are you
that's a-
talking about?
it's a Southern thing more than anything. Texas thing, Southern thing. I knew we never called it stuffing. Okay, so, and your stuffing to y'all is made out of bread, correct?
Largely bread, yeah. It's
Bread,
it's,
yeah.
it's a bread-based situation.
Celery, sausage,
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that. There's
yeah.
a bunch of stuff in there.
Ours is cornbread dressing.
Oh,
It's
sure.
delicious.
Yeah. So
That's great.
what are y'all having? What are y'all cooking up for Thanksgiving?
It's a bit different. I mean, you know, we're a bunch of Gavones here in Jersey, so like we like to eat. But turkey. My mother makes candied yams. We do stuffing or dressing, depending where you are. Green bean casserole.
You need to call it dressing just to get reaction out of people.
I'll see what happens. I'll do it at the table. You know, we're gonna have like an outdoor Thanksgiving with some
Yeah.
people. It'll be
Yeah.
interesting.
Smack you across the face, man.
I love cranberry sauce. All kinds of casseroles from green bean to broccoli. My aunt actually makes a Pennsylvania Dutch stuffing, which is different than regular stuffing. So we actually have two different versions on the table. So, but I mean, imagine it's pretty much a normal Thanksgiving.
Man, you're covering all the bases. We are not doing that at the Grev House. So we are for the next, I think it's 4 weeks, like there are 2 weeks for sure. And then beyond more of this governor mandated lockdown. So families really aren't getting together, even if they, you know, were planning on small groups before, at least officially you're not supposed to. We'll see if people are smart enough to listen or whatever, right? I'm not judging. A little bit I am. But so with that, like my immediate family in our house, we're not doing traditional foods. Like I'm going to make like a million different appetizers through the course of the day. I'll probably make a prime rib or something for the evening just to cut up, but we'll probably just eat all day. And I mean, everything from like chips and guacamole to shrimp cocktail to, you know, meatballs and chicken wings, like, you know, veggie tray, because you got to stay healthy. And then
how about a hot dish? You gonna have a hot dish?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We'll have a hot dish for sure.
Different kinds of hot dish, or just one? You're gonna have the tater tot hot dish, or
tater tot. I like to do, you know, when you're in Minnesota, tater tot hot dish is sort of like, you know, a required part of the feast in some ways. I like to do sort of like your traditional green bean casserole, which is pretty standard on Thanksgiving. But you take a little bit of seasoned ground beef, go over the top of that with some tater tots. So it's a little bit of a hybrid. That's real nice.
That.
And I actually, since, you know, I've been trying to watch the old physique when I'm not able to get to the gym like I used to like to, switched over to cauliflower tots. They're actually fantastic.
God, no.
If you guys haven't tried those, they're awesome.
No way.
Yeah,
no,
for real.
dude.
Yeah, you really. I honestly like. I think they're just as good. You pop them in the air fryer, man. Those bad boys are delish.
I love my air
I listen
fryer.
to Garrett on a lot of things. That's not going to be one of them.
You know, Eric fought me on cauliflower crust pizzas forever.
Oh, that is
until he
abysmal. I'd rather eat cardboard, bro.
Oh man, they're just fine. They're just fine.
No, hey, I like cauliflower itself as like a vegetable.
Yeah, roast it up for sure. It's good.
Yeah.
How y'all doing the turkey? If you're not doing the turkey, but would you do the turkey, Garrett, if you were cooking one up?
So we normally, like I said, we go to Thanksgiving over at my uncle's place, and he gets a big old Sterilite tote, brines that bad boy for a couple days, and then goes into it with sort of like a spicy mesquite type brine to it.
Nice.
And then he does that in one of the big giant tank deep fryers. He'll do one like that, and then he does another one, because this is our big holiday. This is the only time the Grev side of the family really gets together in mass. And like I said, we're not doing that this year. So we'll do one turkey like that, and then one that's a little bit more of like savory seasonings with butter underneath the skin, and then kind of oven roast that and try and keep it nice and juicy with some like garlic butter injections in the breasts and stuff like that. So yeah, we do a little bit of the old school, new school thing when we're there normally.
Okay. Pete?
If we're up to me, man, I love smoked turkey. I'd put it up in the smoker, no problem. But they go traditional and they do the oven, which is just as good. You know.
Okay.
I'm not gonna complain. If I don't have to cook it, it's even better.
I'm gonna inject marinade turkey with garlic and herb butter concoction and let it sit overnight. And then I'm gonna Cajun deep fry that joker.
There you go.
And have some dressing on the side, cornbread dressing. I'll make that from scratch. We'll have the other sweet potatoes, yams, whatever. And then I'll throw out something. I'll have some boudin balls or some boudin on the side, and I'm gonna do a dirty rice, I think, too. So, yeah.
Man, I got to come down to Texas and have Bill cook me.
I know. I want to eat some of this
We have
Texas food, man. It always sounds good.
Such a hybrid of Tex-Mex, Cajun, and Texas barbecue. You know, it's just
the only
right
thing
up my
that
alley.
the only thing I'm not hearing represented here is announcer Rachel should have some sort of hot dish that she requires to be on the menu to represent those Minnesota roots, man.
You know what she makes, and this counts as a hot dish. There's some sort of, because she got the recipe from her mom. It's like and we're going to get to Batman discussion in just a second, I promise.
An audition for Food
You know
Network.
what you're getting into, and you come watch the.
You're gonna get weather, you're gonna get sports, you're gonna get some food, and then every once in a while we'll get around to talking some superheroes after the requisite pleasantries are out of the way.
She does like it's not scalloped potatoes, but it's potatoes that are sliced and they're like onion and there's salt. It's a hot dish, casserole type thing, and it's good. It's
Like
good.
a
I like
take on
it.
au gratins for me.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, but it's like she has a name for it. I have to ask her. I'll have to ask her. She's at work. She's still there. Kids are still in school down here. So, all right. So let's get to it. First up, we found out that Terrence Winter is not going to be the showrunner of the Batman HBO spinoff. I guess what they're calling it, Gotham Central. As for now, it's just kind of the working title. So. I know Pete's kind of bummed about that. So Pete, I'll let you go first. It's kind of, and I'm familiar with him because of The Sopranos. I never watched I never got into Boardwalk Empire. So, and he was the showrunner on Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah,
correct?
he was.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
but he's a big part of HBO in general. Like with The Wire, Sopranos, Boardwalk Empire. Like, I feel like HBO hasn't had a bad show ever, to be brutally honest, and he's been a big part of a lot of those. It is kind of a bummer because his resume speaks for itself. And when you think of he does a lot of crime stuff, so you figured this would be a natural fit.
Yeah.
While it is disappointing, it does kind of just reinforce the fact that this is a Reeves show. So, I kind of take a step back and realize that's a good thing. Like Reeves has a plan, and if this is essentially a prequel to his movie, then it does fall in line and it's not going to stray too far away from what he wants. So that's kind of the dressing on it. I just kind of take it as that.
Being a prequel, you can't do things that won't jibe with what's going to happen in his films, going forward.
As long as he's happy, then I guess we're all technically happy.
Yeah. Garrett,
while we
thoughts?
lose Winter, I'm a big fan of Reeves in general. So I trust him.
Yeah, it's one of those things for me. It's like when it was announced, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a dude, a great creative talent with an incredible pedigree. You start worrying, at least me for a bit, and I'm like, well, Reeves is firmly in control here, so whatever. But I was initially a little concerned about sort of too many cooks in the kitchen, and would Winter have almost too strong of a presence? And from the little that we've heard around creative differences, that's what I imagine it probably was, and that's just fine. Sometimes you get some creative people working together on something and it doesn't quite mesh. And, if one of them was going to be in a position to say, hey, no, we're going to do this my way, I'm glad it was Matt. I think it's just fine. I'm sure, HBO has been committed to, quality prestige storytelling and TV for, decades, longer than anyone else. It feels like really over the last 5 years, we've kind of gotten into this golden age of television, but HBO kicked it off first. So I think, I don't think we should anticipate there being any impact to the quality of the final project. And if it is, more in line tonally and continuity wise with what the feature film is, then we should all be happy as fans.
Yeah, I'm with you. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm sure they'll announce something at some point here and who's going to be the showrunner and so forth. We don't even have a date when they plan on even getting this out yet. So we'll see. Has there, or unless I missed that, I haven't heard anyone what they're shooting for.
I feel like Peacemaker's made more strides than Gotham Central.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, we shouldn't forget either that, Matt Reeve knows a thing or two about running television programs as
yeah.
well. I mean, he really got started. I think he had, a comedy maybe before in the mid 90s, but like he's run television programs. He's been the head of writer rooms. So I don't think there should be any big concern on any fans' parts with this.
Yeah. And he's still involved in TV quite a bit. I know his production company is still doing stuff. All right. So that is that. We'll see what happens next with this, the Batman spinoff on HBO Max. And we're getting an animated Batman movie. I believe early next year, January. Batman Soul of the Dragon. It's the premise. I got to give it to him. It's unique. It's a kung fu movie with Batman animated. That's what it is,
Yeah.
And either one of you big kung fu movie fans, martial arts films.
I love Enter the Dragon.
Yeah,
that's my favorite. Like I always go back to Enter the Dragon, with Bruce Lee and John Saxon. But
yeah,
it's a cool concept just because I feel like we haven't really seen anything like this. Like,
yeah,
it's not as far out there as say Batman Ninja, but it's kind of like as entertaining, as interesting. And anytime you can get the voice of Michael Jai White into a Batman property, I'm all for it. I love that guy. I wish he'd be a Green Lantern for crying out loud, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's just kind of like it's like, but it's 70s Batman. I remember as a kid, kung fu martial arts films were big.
Huge.
I never got into it. I Enter the Dragon. I remember there was, I don't know if you two, y'all are too young, but maybe you remember Keith Carradine. Was it Keith or Robert? Kung Fu, the TV show.
Kung Fu, and then there was Kung Fu: The Legend Continues in the early 90s, which I was around for.
Yeah. So I did watch that. I was into that. So, but I like Bruce Wayne in this movie. The animated Bruce Wayne's got these, those long 70s sideburns and 70s type hair and all that.
I might have rocked those sideburns in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So. I did too.
I mean, you're taking Batman out of Gotham. A 70s Batman, I can get behind completely. Getting them out of Gotham, maybe getting out of my wheelhouse just a little bit, but I think the premise is so cool. Look, you got to do something a little bit different here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and you throw in Lady Shiva in there, and that she adds a dynamic into it, which adds to the Batman mythology as well. So it's kind of familiar territory, and I'm just excited to see where this goes. It sounds really interesting. Outside of Kung Fu, never really got into. I like them. I got a bunch of them. I got a couple dubbed movies like the Chinese Connection and stuff like that. But
nice.
Really, outside of like Ninja Turtles, I didn't really get that much into it. But this is cool. It's something new and something fresh. So why not do it? I'm all for these just experimental type.
Is
movies.
I read the notes that Warner Brothers sent me. It's a Bruce Timm deal, right? Pretty sure.
Bruce Timm, I feel like the usual suspects are involved. I think it's like James Tucker, Sam Liu, Bruce Timm. I feel like those guys.
I think Sam Liu's directing and all that. I think that it's a Bruce Timm story.
Yeah,
okay.
not Timverse, but
creatively.
creatively
Yeah,
involved.
you got me. Yeah.
I'm all about it. It's funny because 80s baby, 90s kid. I remember like in the late 80s when before Fox, the TV channel became what it is today from like a national broadcasting standpoint. It was this collection of sort of regional broadcasters, and they relied really heavily on reruns and movies of the night and syndicated stuff. And they had a ton of kung fu movies because it was huge in the 70s, and then you get the rights to it in the 80s and late 80s. So they showed a bunch of kung fu movies kind of late at night, and I'd watch them with my dad, and they had Batman 66 reruns.
Yeah.
So this thing to me feels like watching UHF 58 Fox out of Red River Falls in North Dakota, from back in the Red River Valley, from back when I was a young kid with my dad, with old school Batman and Kung Fu meshed together. So, I'm all for it. I think it's a lot of fun.
I'm going to tell you, because I was, I guess I was a child of the 70s, but a teenager of the 80s. Does that make any sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. That Kung Fu shit was big when I was a kid, like mid 70s, when I was 10, 9, 10, 11. I mean, you had Hong Kong Phooey cartoon. Y'all familiar with that one?
No,
not overly familiar. I know the character, but
it was a dog superhero Kung Fu guy. It was like Hanna-Barbera, I think. Hanna-Barbera. And the guy who played the Shining, the original Shining, who played the mentor to the little kid.
Okay.
That actor, what's his name? Oh my gosh, it escaped me. Anyway, he was the voice of Hong Kong Phooey. Then you had that song, everybody was kung fu fighting. You remember that song?
Yes, I do.
So
Then you kind of transition right into the early 80s with like the karate craze of,
Yeah.
especially like, I feel like the West Coast was really big on karate tournaments, at least from, what I see in movies.
Yeah.
Looking back, I really, because, when I was a real youngster in the 80s, so it's like, VHS was what you watched your movies on, mid to late 80s. But the things that were getting released was the stuff that was kind of big like 3-4 years earlier. So I was really big on Karate Kid, even though it would have been before my time. And, that was a craze that kind of carried all the way through.
Wax on, wax off.
Yeah, man, keep it going. That rolled right into Ninja Turtles, and now you're in me and Pete's wheelhouse.
Then Ninja Turtles went right into Power Rangers, and just, martial arts was big when I was a kid. I remember.
You know what's going to be? I think if we get to a point where we can have some regular shit go down in this country, in our world, it'd be nice to be able to, Pete, like this, to be going to those premieres in New York again for these animated movies.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
Because we usually cover the shit out of that stuff. So
those are great.
So we'll
Maybe
cover.
Get some premieres in Minneapolis every once in a while.
Yeah,
man. Give me something to do.
We're going to we're gonna do a watch party up there at some point.
Heck
in this deal. Okay, so Batman Soul of the Dragon's coming here very soon, and so stay tuned to Batman on Film. We'll review it. We'll probably do a social hour on it, and I'm sure a podcast as well. All right, let's get to the main topic today. We found out this week that Wonder Woman 1984 is going to keep its Christmas Day 2020 release date, but it's also going to be released on HBO Max on Christmas Day as well. And if you have HBO Max, you can watch it without any extra cost. And it's going to be released internationally in theaters a week before Christmas, like the 16th or somewhere around there. So I'm gonna try to go see it in the theater. That's where I want to see it. I have HBO Max because I'm an AT&T phone guy, and I've got DirecTV. But you still have to jump through hoops basically to watch HBO Max. But now it's on the Fire, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it just
and Hulu's making a deal too. As soon as Wonder Woman was announced, Hulu was making moves to get that because it's driving things.
Yeah, and I think it just showed up, and maybe I just got this update and it's been there for a while, but I watch most of my stuff down in the basement through my PS4, and HBO Max hadn't been on there for the longest time, and I just noticed that it popped up as a new app that was downloaded.
It is?
So
it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's on PS4 now. I don't know if it had been for some time, but I just noticed that it was.
I'll check that out.
Which is great for me. So we remodeled our basement. We had a minor flood down here years ago and hadn't planned on remodeling the basement. And when we did, I was like, well, let's kind of do it right. And I put in a theater room and with the projector and stuff. It's not like 4K. It's not theater quality, but it's a nice 1080p projector. And it's a big picture and wired in surround sound and stuff. So I will probably watch it at home, especially now that I've got that HBO Max app on the PS4 that I watch everything through. Just because, it's normally difficult for me to sneak away to the theater. It normally has to be a late night thing just with, we've got young kids at this point in life and everything else. And I'm not sure. I know our theaters are not going to be open over that time period in Minnesota, or at least the theaters around me aren't open. I'm not sure if that's part of the statewide thing or not. And I don't want to wait. So I hope to eventually see it in the theater because that's, Patty Jenkins has been on record as saying that's how she made this movie. It's what it was designed to be. And I don't want to miss out on that, but I also I don't have the patience or the self-control to wait until then. So I will probably be watching this, Christmas Day in the evening down here with my popcorn or whatever else ready to go. And, I think it's cool that they did it. It's too bad that they had to. But I think it's probably the right call to get this in front of viewers' eyes sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I read that article that Pete sent an article in Variety.
Yeah.
About it, and I forgot this thing was filmed and finished in 2018.
Yeah,
right.
they pushed it back, or
Man,
they
you
pushed
know.
back before the virus. They wanted that summer release date.
Yeah, and I was cool with it going to the summer because it was like, it'd be three years after, same June release. But we didn't know that this pandemic was coming. I think someone mentioned, either I saw it on Twitter or maybe the Facebook group was like, yeah, Warner Brothers got too cute and this is what they get. And I'm like, they didn't know that the effing pandemic was coming and
Right.
this was going to shut down cinema. So, but I guess they got to do what they got to do, right, Pete? I mean,
Yeah, I'm all for this. I've been watching HBO Max since it debuted on my Apple TV, to be brutally honest. Like I've had it for a while. I've been watching everything from South Park to just, these crazy Godzilla movies. They have like every Godzilla movie on there. So there's a ton of content on there to begin with, but I'm not comfortable going into a theater personally. I know we went out to breakfast the other day at IHOP and I was uncomfortable sitting in the restaurant. So I can't imagine sitting in a theater for like a couple hours. I imagine this is like a 2.5 hour movie. So I'm all for I just think it makes sense. Like I know financially it doesn't make sense because they're not going to make the $1 billion that this movie probably was going to get. And I think, AT&T is just going to swallow that. And it makes sense to funnel it into the market that is HBO Max. I get it through my cable subscription. So I'm fine with it. It's a bummer for Patty. I know she wanted it in theaters, but what are you going to do? Like, it's a strange time. And
you saw what happened with Tenet, so.
Yeah. And then I think this is going to just get better word of mouth than Mulan. I think everyone wants to see this. I think this is a big thing coming off the first movie. The first movie was critically acclaimed. Fans loved it. Like there wasn't one person who didn't like the movie. So I just think this makes sense. And also I want Wonder Woman 3 too. Like how much longer could you put this off and delay, not only delaying that release date for the second movie, but the third movie. I'm sure Patty has like a story and everything already figured out, because like I keep saying, like James Gunn wrote Peacemaker during the pandemic. I'm sure Patty was penciling down her ideas for Wonder Woman 3. So I would love to get to that sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
The domino effect of everything that the virus has caused.
I went, when I saw Tenet, me and my son went, my youngest son, and we were like the only people in there. I think there was one other pair of people in there. And I thought that the theater I went to did it right. I mean, there was no one around you where you sat. So they had it all spaced out in pods and stuff. And I get when people don't want to, you're confined, but if I could try to find, usually, you can buy your tickets online, you can pick your seats. So maybe you look for one that no one's there but you, something like that. So I may try to do something like that. But I just got an email this week from with Amazon Prime that I have HBO on Amazon Prime, so HBO Max comes with it now. So I'll watch.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it just happened this week. I found that. So I'll watch it. Maybe like Garrett, it rolls around Christmas Day, I'll just put it in. But
Yeah.
I want to see it in the theater, man.
I
It'd be great
know,
to
it's
just
so
sit and
tough.
watch it with their families.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a really good point too. And it's, I think there is sort of this, and I'm not trying to be cynical about it, but I think there is also this play for Warner Brothers and AT&T to present this as something for people to do. We know these are trying, troubling times, and maybe you're not able to see family the way you normally would over the holidays. You wouldn't be able to go out to a theater, not feel comfortable going out to a theater. So here is this Christmas present for you, our viewers and fans. And Peter, you said something about Mulan, and Disney's actually just kind of recently in the last week or so come out and actually given a bit more information about their assessment of how that worked. And it sounds like it was a little bit more of a success than initially we had started hearing. So I think that bodes well. I'm not sure if timing wise that could have had any impact on the AT&T or Warner Brothers decision. But if we do know one thing, we know that corporate accounting and Hollywood accounting are about the trickiest businesses to ever possibly try to understand. So their ability to write off marketing expenses for this movie could be a write down against other profits that they've had. Like these things, no matter, most of the time, even when you have a huge blockbuster, Hollywood accounting still has some way to show that it's a loss, from a tax standpoint. So you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, Batman '89 was on books a loss, which is ridiculous.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, it's insane. And
Ask
when
Michael about that.
And when AT&T has a marketing budget for HBO Max, It's speculation on my part. I don't know if they can take some of the expenses they've incurred or would have incurred in rolling this out into theaters, or even previously spent marketing expenses, and write that off against this stand-up and this new business, because it's a separate entity.
Yeah.
So if they aren't showing a ton of profit yet, and they aren't, we already know that, because they're chasing subscribers and pouring cash into it for future subscribers to generate revenue in the future. I think this could actually end up being a smart move from a business standpoint for AT&T as like the corporate parent company overall. So who knows? All these things are super messy, but we're going to get to see it, right?
Yes. Here's the top where I wanted to lead this and have a what if discussion, just because we don't know, but we know that AT&T is all about HBO Max. I mean, I'm gonna be frank. I don't talk about this much here on Batman on Film, but it's the reason why this new Justice League miniseries is coming. I'll put it that way. That's just the bottom line. And it's almost a promotion. It's advertisement to give them some content.
They want to rival Netflix. That's what
Yeah, and clearly Wonder Woman going. Part of that is it's also advertisement for HBO Max. You know, it's an investment in HBO Max. I don't want theaters to go away. I don't want to get to a point where they're releasing these films like we're getting Wonder Woman simultaneously, or even, a week or two after. And you know, I see it on social media. I see it on the Facebook group. Well, theaters are going away anyway. This is just the next evolution. So what do y'all think about that?
I don't think that's
type of
true at
stuff?
all. I think that's all bogus. I just think that we are in this worldwide pandemic, and it's caused us to change our lives a little bit, and this is just a result of it. You know, that's how I feel. I don't think
I'm with you,
because there's a huge chunk of Twitter that is film Twitter. You know, like we talk about movies in general, not just capes and tights. So I can't see those people not supporting the industry. You know, thousands and thousands of people. So I don't think theaters are going away. People love going to the movies, whether it's for a first date or just for, to escape the everyday struggle of real life. People just enjoy going to the movies. Mm-hmm. It's a part of just Americana. So I can't see that just vanishing off the face of the earth.
Yeah, I agree with you, Peter. And I think you can't discount how much, we as a species are social creatures, and there is this unique shared experience of going to, whether it's the cinema or a play or a concert, that even if we aren't interacting with one another, it's a shared experience that on the way out there's chatter you can talk about, and there's sort of this, this feeling of community when you do these things. And I think more than ever, as we beat this thing from a pandemic standpoint and come out the other side, people are going to be hungry for those experiences again. So I think, if anything, the theater going experience may change. Maybe we see things in the future around, audience size, for example. You might see different types of movies go to streaming more directly, while your big blockbuster sort of need to see it on the big screen stuff is a little bit more prevalent in cinemas. But, these things are all based on tastes, right? So, the superhero movies, the big blockbusters, the, special effects extravaganzas, those are big things right now. And I think they'll probably continue just because the technology is evolving so much. But at some point, I'm not predicting, a lot of people have predicted the death of the mid-budget adult, not adult movie, but, grown-up focused movie. And I just don't know that that's going to happen. I think we see these things come and go in waves, and we're sort of rising this high tide of, big spectaculars right now, but it might not always be that case. And I deal with this from a professional standpoint, working for a retailer around, is the death of physical media imminent? And it really isn't yet, because, whether it is thinking about what we see in the theater with the projection quality picture and in that experience, in the high def aspect, or, the next generation of high def, whether that's moving to from 4K to 8K, what really leads that charge is physical media. So you have to have a disc or a drive or something to do that, because you can't stream it yet. And then what it looks like in the theater. So as the technology continues to evolve, it doesn't work best to just like stream to your phone or stream to a tablet or even stream to a smart TV if the technology is really driving that from a picture quality standpoint and a special effects standpoint. It starts with the cinema and it starts with home viewing technology, because that's how you actualize the technology as it leaps forward. So I don't think it's going away. It's going to change, and that's fine. Things change, but I don't predict the death of the cinema at all.
Also, like the effects of cabin fever, like as soon as it's safe, people are going to want to go out. It's that simple. Sporting events will come back. Live concerts will come back. Just event presentation itself will come back, and people will start flocking to entertainment to just return back to normalcy. Like it's all anyone ever talks about is returning to normal life, and movie theaters are a part of that. It's bound to happen. It will happen. We just have to be patient. That's really all it comes down to.
And it might not be exactly what we had before, but it's going to be more normal than whatever the hell we're doing right now. Right.
And eventually we'll get back to being, what we were. It's just going to take time. It'll take probably 2-3 more years, but it'll happen.
Speaking about 2-3 more years, the Batman is coming in
Great segue.
2022.
Perfect timing.
I'm hoping, fingers crossed. Now we have these vaccines, and there's still other vaccines that are in development for this COVID bullshit. And I mean bullshit that I'm not meaning it that way. I don't believe it. I believe it.
Right.
You're just fed up with it.
I'm just fed up with it. Yeah. Hopefully by March of 2022, it's going to be more back to normal, way more back to normal than it is right now. It's got to be, right, guys? Don't you think?
I think the Batman's actually coming out at a perfect time, to be really honest. I feel like everything will be, maybe that's just God's way of getting everything right. By the time the world's ready, the Batman will be
Batman
ready.
Take care of that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Batman's the first. It wasn't Tenet. It was the Batman that came out first.
Not the hero we need, or not the hero we deserve, but the hero we need.
Yeah. But it'll be good timing, and I can't stop talking about this movie. I talked to Nick Zednick last night about it for the Vigilante 1939 podcast. And I mean, the hype level is just high. I mean, just this version of the Riddler is just freaking everybody out. Duct tape and goggles and his North Face green coat. Like, I can't wait to see it. I'm ready just to experience this movie for all its glory. I mean, I've heard people say it's more grounded than Nolan. Well, I want it to be proven. I want to see
this.
See
movie. That.
I can't wait. And this car looks awesome. I'm done with tanks. I'm pumped for an actual car. Give me that 1970 Neil Adams car.
It's great too, because if a regular human would be like pumped on this movie to like a 9, Zednick is like the king of being hyped about stuff. He had to be at like 35 at least. That dude's nothing but pure enthusiasm. Just the excited heart of a child on that little guy. I love it.
It's my son is in the Air Force. I've said it before. He's overseas, and I can't say where he's at because he's like a real live Batman. Anyway, I just you
said enough.
Big shout out to Micah Ramey, and he messages me. Anything new in the Batman? I've watched that trailer like 4,027 times, and I'm turning on my friend. I'm showing my friends, and and blah blah blah. So. Yeah, there's a lot of excitement for it, a lot of excitement for it. And then we got to just get there. We'll get there. It's going to be 2021 here in a month and a half. Mm-hmm. And we'll be able to say the Batman's coming next year. As soon as it gets to 12:01 on January 1st, right. I'm going to say the Batman is coming next fucking year.
Finally.
Yes.
Finally. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. All right. So let's that's good discussion. Good stuff there.
And it will have been a full decade, right? It'll be 10 years since the last time we had a solo Batman movie.
2022. Yeah.
Yeah.
From Dark Knight Rises.
It's a long time.
Yeah. It is
I'm telling you, from running Batman on film now, there is nothing like a solo Batman film. Right. Nothing. There's nothing generates more excitement. Nothing that you see people more fired up about than a solo Batman film. All right, let's do some plugs and get the hell out of here. Social hour is almost over with. Pete, what you got?
Just follow me social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Zack Snyder's favorite Vero at Pete Illustrated. Follow my show page that I co-host with the champion of Long Island, Eric Holzman. straight_O_G. That's Straight Out of Gotham. Follow our Facebook page, Straight Out of Gotham, as well as the Facebook group. We got a YouTube channel. We do some live streams, Iceberg Lounge, Straight Out of Gotham tonight. And just love to interact with you guys and just chat all things capes and tights.
Cool. Double G.
Hey guys, if you I always say, if you like to listen to the words that I say, you might like to read the words that I write, and you can check those out over on batmanonfilm.com, where I cover Justice League and Batman Superman with comic book reviews. Been popping up on a few different podcasts here and there recently. My most recent one, I did a couple back-to-back episodes with our pal Ryan Lauer over at the Batman Book Club, taking a look at the Batman Ninja Turtle Adventures series that came out a few years ago by DC and IDW, and actually got to interview the artist on that book. It was a fantastic time. So you give a listen to those. Otherwise, you can follow me on Twitter. I am at Garrett Wato. That is at GARRETWATO. And yeah, man, I talk Batman, Superman, He-Man, a lot of fantasy football right now. And
Randy
then just,
Moss.
Yeah, Randy Moss, the Vikings. Yeah, a lot of Viking stuff. And then, the odd bits and tales of raising up a bunch of wild men in a house. So it's fun time. Love to interact.
Garrett, how do you pronounce the word BAG?
I actually say bag.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Most people
Okay.
around here will say bag.
What?
Like it's a long A.
That's my wife.
Bag.
That's what.
Big?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard many times I have a very odd accent for a Minnesotan. It's almost more of a sort of Southern, Midwest sort of accent-free dialect, but every once in a while you'll catch me in some random word. Normally it's like the O's, especially if I've had a few beers. Every once in a while my O's will start getting elongated. But yeah.
That's a South Jersey thing. They stretch out the O.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Big South Jersey.
Ours
folk
is a little
lines.
bit more like, oh.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
the
it.
Mauer.
I was
Yeah.
about to ask you, do you ever let a,
Oh
yeah.
Oh,
Isn't that
yeah.
Canadian?
You bet. Well, I mean, there are brothers to the north, and there's in Minnesota too. We have a lot of Scandinavians, right? 'Cause they that's where a lot of folks immigrated, in the 1800s and early 1900s and settled here. So like you get further north, and people really do a lot of sing-songy talking, and it kind of it sounds like is that Swedish? What is going on with you? But yeah, yep. Every once in a while, it'll slip out on me.
That's great.
You ever had lutefisk?
Oh yeah, for sure. I probably won't this year without getting together, but that's
What is lutefisk?
lutefisk is it's
That's like me asking, do you guys have gobble goal? Like,
lutefisk is it's like a pickled, almost jellied whitefish.
that sounds delicious. Yeah.
It's lye. It is.
Yeah. The kicker is at one point in the process, it's poisonous AF.
Yes. Yeah. At some point during the you can't eat
Yeah.
it. You'll die. It's essentially like the Vikings loaded up. It's kind of like preserved whitefish,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
the Vikings would load this on their ship as they went around pillaging and robbing different villages blind, and they that's what they lived on. My uncles are big on this. My dad's side of the family is very into Norwegian stuff. So yeah,
Cool.
typically once a year we have that.
Awesome. I had to bring that up. Lefse?
Lefse, yeah. My
Yeah.
grandma will make some lefse
Okay.
for sure.
Okay. It's like a tortilla almost.
Like a potato tortilla.
Yeah. All right. You got to get us on a tangent again. Here we go.
Yeah,
Right
man.
back down that slope. All right.
Minnesota cuisine, baby. It's hot dish. It's poisonous fish and potato tortillas. Yeah.
All right. One thing I'm going to plug the latest Batman on Film contest giveaway ends today. It was a Lieber Mayho mini poster, and I'm going to pick the winner a little bit here shortly. The next one is right here, boys.
Whoa, there it is.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Classic.
Very
Right
nice.
up there with Hush, some people would say.
Trying to get me started on that one too.
I gave it a
Besides,
shot, didn't I?
besides
Got
talking
him.
about food and weather and whatever sports and whatever else we tangent off on here. So
Oh, geez.
detail, I'm gonna give away a copy of Batman 3 Jokers. Details coming this weekend or pretty soon here. So just check. We'll look for those at Batman on Film proper. So I am Bill. They are Garrett and Pete, and this is Batman on Film, which is the authoritative, definitive
The Daggum Original.
There you go.
You left me on it.
I
Pete,
let you go solo. I let you have the spotlight on this.
do it Jersey style.
Hey, is the dadgum original, huh?
That's what I'm
All
talking
right.
about.
Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.